Well, Case of the Golden Idol is a detective game similar to the Return of the Obra Djinn, although Case of the Golden Idol has arguably better writing and a whole load of humour as well. Well, as soon as you start up the Case of the Golden Idol, you witness a murder. There's little explanation as to what you're witnessing, no hand-holding or tutorial. You're simply thrown into the mystery and it's up to you to solve it on your terms. Case of the Golden Idol is segmented into chapters and they collectively tell the tale of the Cloudsley story. That is a rich family in the world of the Case of the Golden Idol. That's one of the Cloudsleys getting murdered in the opening exchanges of the game. Well, Case of the Golden Idol is set in the 18th century in England, and the game certainly has its own style. It's a cross between pixel art and certain caricatures similar to the original Day of the Tentacle, if you can remember that one, and other LucasArts games. So when I originally saw the game, I could have sworn this was going to be a point-and-click adventure game. Once you get into the Case of the Golden Idol, it is so much more than that. Well, gameplay-wise, Case of the Golden Idol is similar in fashion to Return of the Obra Djinn. Given there aren't many tutorials in the game, it's a case of using your wits and your skills to uncover who the murderer is. And at first, this may seem like a simple mechanic, but later on it becomes devilishly tricky. For example, in one of the first moments, you have to analyse someone being pushed off a cliff. There's a freeze frame, some small animations you're allowed to investigate with a few clicks of the mouse, as well as analysing the imagery in front of you. There's also two modes to select: exploring and thinking. Well, exploring allows you to analyse what you can see in front of you. You can seek for clues in the image. For example, who is trying to push this person off a cliff? So is the person who's pushing someone off the cliff holding any objects that may help identify them? Are there any names or locations or anything that's going to help solve the crime? Then keywords fill up the lower section of the screen, and I'll save for later when you switch into thinking mode. So in thinking mode, you have to fill in the blank words down below. When you explore, you're generating these keywords and the blanks, and then when you're in thinking mode, you have to fill in the blanks and solve the problem. So it's a really neat little mechanic, which is slightly tricky to get into at first. Once you're in, then you're in, and things become second nature. Now, Case of the Golden Idol presents you with multiple murders, then you've got to work out how this all fits into the wider landscape. Greed, backstabbing, and plotting. It's all here. We've got cults, poisonings, class battles on the horizon. We meet many of the Cloudsley clan, and ultimately the story revolves around the Golden Idol, a device that is used to manipulate matter. Humour is definitely strong in the writing. It's good because the game can be a little bit strange to look at sometimes. The artwork is very unique but largely static, and the audio work is key to building up the tension in the game. As you progress through the game, other characters try and throw you off the scent, so you've got to keep your investigative nose to the ground and stay strong. Look around you because everyone is a suspect, given the amount of money and power that is involved in this story. Okay, so the Golden Idol starts out straightforward enough, but the puzzles and the brain teasers get complex the later you go in the game, to such an extent that sometimes it's worth putting the game down and having a bit of a break or a rest, then coming back to it fresh with a new perspective. I found myself banging my head against a brick wall a couple of times, but once refreshed, I came back and things seemed to open up a little bit. So we do have the thinking mode for this kind of thing, although I found it a little bit too much at times. I found taking time away from the game worked better for me. Persevere with the game though, because it definitely is worth it. Well, the game follows a linear story, but as each chapter goes by, time passes too, and the Cloudsley family, all their arguments fall away to national issues. So totalitarian governments come to power, and as the time goes by, there's an incredible sense of urgency in the timeline of the game. Case of the Golden Idol really comes together in the closing chapters, pulling together all the characters, the scheming, and the big picture comes into focus. This is a tale of how power corrupts, and it also shines the light on that through brilliant satire. The game is rich in history, it's got its own personality, it's very unique, plus the mechanics of the detective work may be some of the best I've ever seen in a game like this. While I did enjoy Return of the Obra Djinn, I found that it didn't really grab my attention like Case of the Golden Idol. I would say it's probably one that flew under the radar for many in 2022, but it's definitely something worth checking out in 2023. Well, that is it for my review of the Case of the Golden Idol. Definitely go out there and seek it out. It's really, really good fun. Thank you so much for watching or listening. Hit that subscribe button down below and subscribe to This Week in Video Games. Or you can check me out on Twitter at TWIVG Podcast. If you enjoyed this video, found it useful, liking and sharing the video would really help me out. Otherwise, check out the other videos on the channel. Well, thanks again. I'll see you soon.